Our pace of living leaves us little time for leisure. Our program will give you a chance to experience the fascinating world of traveling, extreme adventures, hunting and fishing. Each week we will take you to the most beautiful places of Kazakhstan. There is the saying, time is money. Indeed, time is never enough to see all the beautiful natural places of Kazakhstan. In order to get to a national park or a game reserve, we sometimes have to spend more than one day for one obvious reason. Kazakhstan has vast territories. The country has a lot of game reserves where one can have a good time fishing or hunting, but they are remote and usually inaccessible places. Sadly, it is more and more difficult to find natural places rich in fish and game near cities. With some help from private game reserves, this gap is filled. We leave Almaty at 6 a.m. From the Kapchagay motorway, we turn to the direction of the sandy dunes and go on towards the Kazakhstan settlement.
Иногда возникает вопрос, куда съездить на охоту, если у охотника не очень много времени.
We are sometimes asked what to do if the hunter wants to hunt but doesn't have enough time to go to remote hunting sites. Igor, Andrey and me, for example, have only 24 hours at our disposal. We need to return tomorrow at this time. That's why we have chosen the Tasmuryn Game Reserve. It is situated in 170 kilometers from Almaty. It is not difficult to access and it's now 8 a.m. and we are arriving at the place. On the right from us we see the dawn breaking and rocks along the river Joly. I should say that when we were planning the trip, we were hesitating.
У нас есть шанс, Игорь, увидеть кабана?
Do we have any chances to see live wild boar, Igor? Deers come to graze earlier than wild boars, during the daylight. We might see the wild boars later, when it gets dark. We leave the Kazakhstan settlement behind. To be more exact, the remains of what used to be the settlement, 3 houses and a few sheds. We see the reminders of the Kazakhstani settlement. But at the bank of the river Joly, there are a lot of modern farms. They don't need a posh central facade of a sovkhoz. Modern farmers prefer to live and work in the same place, their farms.
Волки не нападают?
Нет, шакалы только.
Шакалы?
Ой.
Are you attacked by wolves? No, but jackals often attack the farm. They howl and it sounds like child is crying. Our dogs bark all the night. At our neighbors, the jackals slaughtered some cattle. We're safe now. While we were getting to the border of the game reserve, the dawn broke. The steppe is covered with fresh traces of hares and foxes. As we go into the riparian forest, we see some pheasants.
Дорога идет по пескам Таукум до Тугаев вдоль реки Joly.
The road is leading us to the Taukum desert, towards the riparian forests along the river Joly. The game reserve extends along the Joly and is covered with riparian forests. Here we have roe deers, wild boars and pheasants. In the relatively recent past, there used to be tigers. Unfortunately, we don't have them now, but we have the wild cane cat. Here we are at the game reserve. We are met by our fellow hunters Andrey and Vitaly. Vitaly is an amateur hunter. Andrey Labanov is a professional. He is also a famous sports archer. At the cordon, we are hospitably met by huntsman Joly and his wife Yelena, who offer us some tea. We are accommodated in a guest house with a dining room and 3 bedrooms. In the evening, we order a bathhouse. Hunting manager Igor issues hunting licenses for us to hunt for pheasants, 2 per person. The weather is typical for December, fresh and frosty, 15 degrees below zero. On such cold days, pheasants start grazing from about 11 a.m. when the sun is high and it gets warmer.
Мы сейчас выезжаем с центральной базы. Jalil Singatulin.
We are leaving the central base now. Jalil Singatulin, senior inspector here, will show us how to hunt for pheasants. Jalil shows us a trough for the pheasants, but shooting them at a distance of 100 meters from the place is not allowed.
Таких кормушек у нас по территории расположено более 25 штук. Вот. Егеря.
We have more than 25 such pheasant troughs on the territory. Huntsmen come here to feed the pheasants every 2 or 3 days. To feed the game birds at the trough, we need about a kilo of barley. So we need about 3 tons of grain for one season. Jalil plans the route and we split into 2 groups. Andrey, accompanied by Jalil, goes along the left bank of the dried canal. We and Vitaly and Igor go along the right bank. A spaniel called Umka assists us in search of the pheasants. The dog tracks the game bird, barks when the game bird is found, scares it, making it rise in the air to make it visible for the hunter. When the pheasant is shot, the spaniel finds and fetches it. Without the dog, it is extremely difficult to hunt for the pheasant. They graze in small clearings, but as soon as they hear hunters shooting, they scatter in the riparian forest. Riparian forests are forests that grow in the floodplain areas along the Central Asian rivers. In the riparian forests of the Joly, the following kinds of vegetation can be found: silverberries, willow trees. There are also desert poplars. One can come across common salt trees, desert shrubs, as well as tamarisks. I've walked away from the hunters' group for a little while and have come to the bank of the river Joly. We can see that the river is still flowing, but apparently very soon it will be completely frozen. It is hard to believe now that just 70 years ago, here there used to be the Turan tiger dominating in the riparian jungles near Lake Balkhash.
Последний туранский тигр в Прибалхашье был убит в 1939 году. Его чучело.
The last Turan tiger was slaughtered near Lake Balkhash in 1939. We still have the stuffed sample. Recently, there have been ideas about the reviving of the population of the Turan tiger on the base of the Amur tiger, whose genome is similar to the former's. The revival of the Turan tiger in the near Balkhash area would be a good sign and a symbolic event, worth for our generation to be proud of, but it will not be easy. Before introducing the tiger, it is necessary to prepare the ecosystems of the southern near Balkhash and the floodplain areas. We need to increase the populations of wild boars and roe deers. It is also necessary to reintroduce the subspecies of the red deer, hangul, which became extinct at the beginning of the 20th century.
По данным дальневосточных биологов, для одного тигра требуется как минимум 100 тысяч гектаров.
According to some biologists from the Far East, to provide one tiger with natural habitat with enough food, the animal will need 100,000 hectares of land, with a population of wild boars of at least 300 species. This number of wild boars would be capable of giving birth to their young that would allow the Turan tiger and its family to live on them without threatening their existence. Today we don't have this size of land and the sufficient number of the animals of prey for the tiger. Hangul translates from the ancient Turkic language as the Khan's flower. Senior manager of the game reserve, Igor Miloserdev, shows us the nursery where they breed Hangul deers. Special metal fence has been built around 150 hectares of the riparian forest, where currently there are 13 red deers.
Бухарских оленей нужно подкармливать. Вот мы находимся на складе.
We need to feed the red deers. We are now in a warehouse. How much barley do you spend a year? About 10 tons. We feed both the swine and deers.
Бухарский олень хангул – это редчайший вид, относящийся к роду благородных оленей.
Red deer hangul is a rare species that belongs to the class of red deers that used to inhabit the floodplains of the river Joly, but in the 19th century the animal became extinct due to extensive hunting. Today, enormous efforts have been put to revive the population of the deers. Special enclosures have been built. We are now on a reindeer farm. It's not very easy to see the red deers though, as they are real wild animals. The reindeer farm is separated from the rest area with a metal fence that has been built along quite a significant perimeter. The animals are afraid of people and only come here to eat before the sunset. The animals have adjusted to the local climatic conditions quite easily. All the female species have given birth to their young this year. Young deers have grown and look almost similar to adult deers. Mature males have lost their antlers. Young stags don't have the antlers yet, and instead of them they have small pikes. Igor tells us about the organization of the work and how the animals are protected from the poachers.
На самом деле это очень важно охранять природу, потому что у нас все-таки существуют люди, которые...
Protecting the wildlife is very important. We still have people who violate laws and poach. Poachers cause a lot more serious damage than organized hunters. Unfortunately, some of our citizens break the law and practice poaching to get some meat for their table. At night, a team of huntsmen controls the territory of the game reserve. If they notice someone's car front lights, they react to them quickly, immediately checking the unwanted visitors. At lunchtime, we return to the central mansion, where Yelena offers us delicious plov. After the lunch, we walk around a little zoo at Alexander Bykovsky's cordon. He keeps peacocks, guinea fowl, pigeons, some breeds of wild partridges and pheasants. It's a wonderful little zoo. They have already adapted. Can you see they tolerate the 20-degree frost in the enclosures? It's quite cold, but they're fine. In the evening, we prepare for hunting for the wild boar. Near the trough zone for hunters' convenience, there is an observation tower. We rise there and wait. It's important to wait quietly, as wild boars have an excellent sense of hearing and smell. And then, in the thick bushes of tamarisks, we hear a loud noise, the distinct snuffling and squealing. In early December, wild boars have the rut. More mature males get more aggressive and show their domination over younger males in the herd. In the trough zone, we see a large dark spot. We recognize a male boar. It is prohibited to hunt them on the territory of the game reserve during the rut. We are allowed to hunt younger, 2-year-old male species, as larger male samples will be necessary for breeding. In the dark, it is not easy to identify the age of the species, but an experienced huntsman identifies it quickly. For about half an hour we listen and wait, and then, all of a sudden, we see a smaller boar appear in the place. That's what we need, says Alexander, and Andrey shoots. A bright flash blinds us for a moment. When our eyes get used to the darkness again, we see that the animal remains in the place. The hunt is successful. The 2-year-old male boar weighs about 80 kilos. It hasn't participated in the mating season, so its meat is of a good quality. The hunting is over. All the hunters have done well and are satisfied. Charged and full of positive emotions, we're returning home. It's difficult to believe that just in the morning we were in the city. A lot has happened during the day. We are impressed. Thanks a lot. Visit us again. We definitely will. Good luck!